Welcome to the Love What You Do podcast. I'm your host, Doug Shapiro. These are the conversations that open doors to what's possible when you love what you do. All right. I've got some good warm-up questions for you.
Uh-oh.
Before we jump into it.
I was trying to think, what my book would be called. I got all the prep from yesterday's folks.
I only asked that to one person is because they were talking about books. So
yeah.
I won't, unless you want to answer that question.
No, I feel like I'm skewed on reading because I do Audible. I don't have time to read. And if I pick up a book at the end of the day, I'm going to fall asleep. So I read through Audible. And so I judge books by, it's a 12-hour book or it's an 8-hour book. I have no idea how many pages.
So you did the quote marks reading.
Yeah.
Does that mean, do you count Audible as reading?
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
I don't see the difference. I mean,
No.
it's
the same information.
Words entering your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad we could agree on that. You're gonna do okay now.
My library is very big then, if that counts.
All right. Warm-up questions. Here we go.
Okay.
Your first ever CD that you bought.
CD. I didn't buy very many. I stole them from my older sister. Does that count? I do remember going to Sam Goody to peruse the CDs.
Sam Goody.
It might have been Paula Abdul.
Nice.
If that's a acceptable answer. Yeah.
Totally acceptable. All right. Most memorable outfit from high school or junior high?
Outfit. I don't know. I didn't have really a favorite. I would say it was probably the baggy jeans and the wide legs, which, has all somehow come full circle thanks to our Super Bowl last presentation that they had with Kendrick Lamar and his big, wide bell-bottom legs. Just jeans. I've always been a jeans and a T-shirt. Yeah, that's where I'm most comfortable.
I respect it. All right. Your career theme song.
Ooh. I don't know. My career theme song. It's ongoing. I don't think it's got its full melody yet.
So you're still built.
I'm still composing it, should we say?
You know what's funny? That has been the most difficult question.
Yeah.
For every guest.
I guess it depends on the day or the week, or if it's been a struggling week, or if it's been, riding the high of winning projects and being, on top of your game, or yeah.
Yeah. So you need something that
very
has
emotional.
Maybe like the 1812 overture. I'm like,
yes. I was thinking more like classical music side of it. So
awesome. Well, welcome to the Love What You Do podcast.
Thank you,
Julia. I'm super excited you're here.
Thank you. I'm honored.
VP of Internal Operations at Price Modern.
Yeah. As of last week.
As of last week. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know you've been very loyal and you've had a lot of time there. Multi-location Hayworth dealer across DC.
Yep.
So yeah, very, very excited that you're here.
It is.
This is about loving what you do, right? But it's also about asking questions and opening doors to new perspectives. When we talked leading up to this, one of the things you had mentioned was, how do we know when we're getting to the good stuff? When it comes to our clients, our friends, our colleagues, I'm like, all right, that's a really good question. There's a lot of directions that can go. So you're going to have to take me there.
Yeah. And I think it's a big part of, my moving into this role. And so I was talking to our mutual friend, Wes, and he had brought up, there's certain things of, how do you can't really measure successful operations, right? Like, how am I supposed to measure my success in this new role? And I think that's one of the biggest things I have to overcome is with design. Your sense of completion is in this beautiful design, right? And you have a drawing to show for it and you've got an installation to show for it. But with working in operations and the processes, it's not going to have this huge satisfaction of, hey, look what I did, right? It's all behind the scenes. And so it's going to be hard to quantify that success. And I think that part of that's going to come from people saying, oh, I didn't know that, and it's not just, spouting off random bar facts like last night's furniture bottle of tequila that was, but getting them to see things in different perspectives and through different lenses. And so it'll be a process. I know that for sure. So
let's go a little deeper because you said getting them to say, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you, like, where are you going with that exactly?
So more of, So part of my career path, I've been obviously in design for 17 years. I dabbled in sales and I saw a lot of different perspectives from the sales side, knowing that what I was asking of design and then being that designer, knowing what sales is asking of me. And so to get to getting people to understand what each other is doing. I think that we're so often siloed in what we do day in and day out, and we're just driven by the results, that getting to see what other people are doing and how we can help each other, I think is going to be really helpful, and say, oh, I didn't know it took a designer 4 hours to create that drawing, right? So you have a better appreciation of what you're asking somebody to do. And then in turn, knowing what sales has to do with that quote at the end of the day before it goes to the customer. So, full big picture overall view of things.
Actually, I kind of like this connection of like, oh, I didn't know that. Like that reaction to knowing that you're getting to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Because, it's beyond just like interdepartmental understanding, which is kind of where we're going here. But like,
Yeah.
I feel like it goes deeper into, like how many times do you hear that from a family member? Like,
Yeah.
are we digging deep enough? Are we
Yeah.
being curious enough?
Yeah.
To where, like I'm learning something new about my wife who I've been married to for like 20 years,
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yep.
Like to get to that level
Yep.
more often, especially the easy thing to do it with is with clients and colleagues, right? Is to
Yeah.
get that reaction.
Yeah. They didn't know what we were capable of maybe either. So.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Even to react that way to yourself, it's kind of funny, if you watch a kid achieve something,
Yeah.
sometimes they'll surprise themselves.
They do.
And you can genuinely see it on their
Yeah.
face. Like,
Yeah. Look what I did.
yeah.
It's
It's
true.
like, do
It's
we
very
get
true.
there enough?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. I like, that is when we're getting to the good stuff.
Yeah. And it's, doing this for 17 plus years, I don't pretend to know everything about it. I fully anticipate learning a lot myself. We're hosting a lot of these, lessons learned project meetings lately. And I'm constantly being, myself saying, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that that's what happens on site, or how we can prevent that from happening earlier on, the good and the bad. And so how can we make it easier for other folks? And I'm looking forward to it. It's been very eye-opening within the 1 week it's been already, but
I'm sure. Let's get into your role a little bit since, we're on this topic.
yeah.
It's, you got your hands in a million things. You did already. It's not like the entirety of the role is new to you, right?
No.
It's
Yeah.
there's a lot of elements to it that you've already been exposed to or had already been leading.
Yeah.
But, take me into like a typical, week. How many departments, how many things are your hands in here?
A lot. I think right now I'm more in the discovery phase of everything, which is kind of funny. I had a previous boss call me Sherlock. That was his nickname for me, because I just had to get to the bottom of everything. I had to figure out, either how the parts went together for the furniture, or I had to figure out the process and how it worked. And I think that's kind of where I am right now is, understanding where people are, what their roles are, what they believe they know, and then where the gaps are that they just don't know that they don't know. And so I think before I can move forward with trying to put new things into place, or to initiate new processes, I got to figure out where we all stand. And I'm still kind of gathering that research and figuring out where things are. So I'm taking care of, and right now focusing on the sales and design perspective of it. My counterpart is working on more of the accounting and financing and invoicing side. And then we have a VP of external operations who takes care of the warehouse through installation and things. So between the three of us, we kind of cover from front to back as far as the whole process. And so there'll be a lot of mastermind brainstorming conversations for sure.
I love this Sherlock nickname. I kind of like, it made me be a little reflective on myself. It's like, we got to make sure we actually do that, right?
Yeah.
Is like take the time to go through discovery,
Yeah.
to go a little deeper. It's easier, I think, I don't know what the counterpart to a detective would be, but to be a doer,
Yeah.
and just start engaging. I think being a Sherlock is kind of a cool little
fun.
challenge, you know?
Yeah.
So, all right, you're running all over with your job.
Yep.
You're also a mom.
Yes. Yes.
And a wife.
Yep.
So you've got the family thing going.
Yeah.
Does life ever slow down for you, or
No.
do you find moments to stop and see things?
Every once in a while. Yeah, I'm very proud of my 11-year-old daughter. My husband and I have 17 years marriage coming up. We've known each other forever. And they're definitely a really strong support system for me. It's important for me that my daughter sees me in that way, just as a working mom, and that, you still have times to go to every soccer game. And, I will say that Price Modern's been very supportive of me in my personal side of things, because it's a balance, right? It's not just the work from home balance. It's, being there for your family so that you can, be more present at work as well. So there was, couple years ago, someone was saying, "Oh, well, you just got to stop and smell the roses every once in a while." It's like, time to smell roses. I barely have time to, get the laundry done on the weekends before the work starts. And so I took it quite seriously, and I planted one rose bush, and I was like, all right, I can keep this one plant alive. And it's funny seeing all the beautiful plants around here. All my interior plants are plastic, and it's all I can do to keep them alive and dust free. Succulents, I can still kill those. That's a talent I have. But I really just focused on this one rose bush for a while. And it was a sense of satisfaction. It was something peaceful at the end of the day. Just, pick a couple dead leaves off here and there. And I'm not a rose expert. I do not have a green thumb yet. I'm still working on it. And then you bring in the added factor of we have deer in our neighborhood, and so they'll just eat all of it, right? And then you've lost it all. So, but it's been a process, and it's very gratifying, because when you do get that beautiful bloom, it's like I did that, and I all these little moments that led up to it were well worth it. And so I think with our industry, you don't get those moments of satisfaction very often. It's just so long from start to finish, from the client initiation and their discovery phase and designing and lead times, and then finally that installation. It's just that aha moment. And it's funny, because I was talking to a coworker who came to us from the medical field. And I was like, "Oh, I really want you to go to site." And, she's new with us. And I said, "I want you to go to site so you get that sense of satisfaction, because I know it can take a while." She's like, "I think this is so fast moving." She goes, "In the medical field, you have research and you're going through all these experiments. And then at the end of 3 years, you find out, nope, we got to start all over again." And so it was put it in perspective, right? Of the way you're looking at things. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
That side by side is really interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, there's probably times when they feel like they're flying.
Yeah. Yep.
And then they look at what we're doing, and they're just like, and then there's other industries that look at us and they're like,
Yeah.
"You can't put up an office in 3 weeks? Like, what's going on?"
Amazon can get you your chair in 48 hours. And I think that's, one of the struggles we have right now is with the industry expectations is it's the Amazon effect, right? And so why can't I get it in 48 hours? Well, because that custom piece that you picked all the finishes for isn't sitting on a shelf, and so.
Well, I like this change of, instead of stop and smell the roses, you stopped and grow the roses.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah.
I almost feel like that's a nice replacement,
Yeah. You can't smell them until you grow, right? And so I think that's, also a good theme for, this new position for me is I have a lot to grow, within the company, and not just personally, but, for the company and how we can improve on processes that we're doing.
So you're in a position where you're leading leaders in some cases.
Yeah.
What are you looking for in a leader? Like what is it when you're looking? Somebody young is listening and they're aspiring to move into a new role, or what is it that would put them in that best position?
I think an open mind for sure. Even if you don't have the years of experience, or even if you do have the years of experience, you're not going to know it all, right? I mean, you're going to continually grow. Being open-minded to understanding where people are coming from. It's not I do it this way, you do it this way, and this is how it's done. There's lots of ways to get things done. I think that, you can't teach some old dogs new tricks, but old dogs also want to know new tricks. I think that the more experience we can bring to it, and the more awareness, that I think that's one of the things within our industry, that one size does not fit all. Whether it's one office or whether it's a whole building, it's not the same approach. And so I feel like time-wise, it's always very difficult to predict how long it'll take to get a project to completion. Maybe you've got a decision maker that can just make all the decisions and it's going to go a lot smoother, or it's somebody who you really need to be their trusted advisor for. And so I think just keeping an open mind of listening is a really big deal, to hear their thoughts, hear where they're coming from, so that you can best respond to that and provide them with that advice.
That's good advice. We'll stay on the career thing.
Okay.
Do you have any like embarrassing career moments or like
I
something,
do.
that's like,
I don't know if it's appropriate. So I was giving one of my first presentations as a showroom walkthrough, and I remember it vividly. And so it was when the 1.5 high lateral files were this big trend, right? Oh, and you put a little cushion on it, and you can sit here for quick meetings. And so I was speeding through this presentation. I was trying to explain to the guy, and I said, "Oh, and these are great for quickies." And the guy just looked at me, and I turned around and I just counted to 10, and then I said, "Quick meetings," and that's where we can have the. So yeah, that was probably my absolutely shades of red moment of embarrassment.
That is hilarious. I will never look at the 1.5 file.
Never look at it the same way. Yeah, you're welcome.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
That's a good one. It's funny, the stories that we build, in our careers. I feel like so many good things happen, and when I'm asked for these stories,
Yeah.
and I'm put on the spot, I can never remember them. In the moment, they're so funny. So I'm glad you remembered that.
Oh, mortified. Absolutely mortified. Yep, that one sticks with me.
You weren't going to forget that one.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you've been on podcasts before, right?
Other, yeah.
So this isn't a new game for you.
It's a second game for me. So it's, I'm very honored. It's been a whirlwind for sure. Just these past 10 days, turning 40, and then getting the promotion, and now here with you. So it's I still am on that cloud right now for sure.
That's awesome. So this would be your chance to put something out into the universe.
Yeah.
Is there something like that you've thought about? Hey, this is a chance to put something out there. Is there something you want to share?
Just that I'm open to any and all advice. I know that there's so much more out there. I was worried for a while that, my only experience is with a dealer designer. That's all I've ever done since college. So I've talked to a lot of other industry professionals, with A&D firms or manufacturers. And my phone number's out there. Just call me. I'd love to hear different perspectives and how we can kind of collaborate better. And still in that discovery phase of just learning what else is out there and that how we can, collaborate together for sure.
I love that. Gosh, that's not what I was expecting. That was actually a surprise. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the profession. I know you are an advocate of the dealer design process, and you've known and you've innovated inside of that, right? To develop new ways of actually thinking about the role of the dealer designer and how they engage. Are there things that you feel like need to be explained better to the industry as a whole, or do you feel like it's generally understood?
I think there's a lot of maybe misperceptions behind it, and I think that that's something that we had talked about earlier, this morning about, we added a whole bunch of designers to our team and thinking that, it would help to spread out the workload and so that people could take a breath here and there or take a lunch. And so we added 5 designers to our group and thinking, I'm going to throw all the resources at it. And it still didn't have as much pain relief as I thought it was going to be. And so, trying to find different ways and perspectives to get designers to be out in front of customers, I think is a huge benefit that not a lot of people are utilizing. Yes, sales is supposed to go out and sell, but then bringing your designer with you. There was an article I wrote a couple years ago about, it's like bringing your mechanic to buy a car, right? And it's that trusted advisor. They're looking at things differently, right? You're not going to get sold a car with problems if you've got your mechanic there. You can't design something or overpromise something that will fit in the space without having your designer there. And so having them be there with you, I think is just so powerful that I wish, was done more often.
I love that analogy. Yeah. That is really cool. Do you have any others?
Back to the article, it was more about, similar to cars is designing the office. You're talking the furniture or the finishes within the space or the materiality and the colors. And there's a car for every budget and there's an office for every budget too, and it's where you want to spend those dollars to make it worth what you're looking for. So
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, I feel like you have this. You understand the love what you do vibe. You almost wore the T-shirt. You said so that was pretty cool. Let's talk about loving what you do even on tough days.
Yeah.
Do you have a strategy that kind of leans into optimism, or how do you use optimism
Yeah.
as a tool?
I have a little sign on my desk that says everything is figure outable. Because I think it is, right? Even when an installation goes south and you got to figure it out, we'll figure it out. Maybe it's not what we should have done from the start, but we can figure it out. It's not rocket science. It's furniture. It might feel like rocket science and heart surgery at certain times, with the pace that we move and the importance that we feel. But yeah, it's everything's, we can get through it all. And it's just taking a step back. I think that, that's one of the most exciting things I'm looking forward to in this role is having the time to be able to look at things. When you're in the moment with design and you're striving for that end goal or that delivery or that, install date, you don't have time very much to reflect about, looking back at it or maybe looking at it from a different angle. And so you've been looking at the same design over and over for so long, you just need that other set of eyes. And so I don't think I'll ever fully be able to step away from design. That's something that was very bittersweet for me. And I told the designer, I said, look, just show me a plan every once in a while. Let me get my feet wet and keep my toes in the sand. And I think that it's, hopefully that'll be helpful to them as well. It's just a different perspective, but of the perspective of somebody who's been in those shoes. So
I love all these little nuggets of wisdom. Everything's figure outable.
Yeah.
Stop and grow the roses. Bring your mechanic when you buy a car,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
There's a lot there.
I make t-shirts now. We got all the slogans in the back.
T-shirts and bumper stickers.
Yep.
This is awesome. So I guess, is there a question maybe that you were hoping I would ask you that I haven't asked yet?
I don't know. I was a little nervous about the questions. We were talking last night with the other folks you've already interviewed. It's like, it's not just about furniture. We're getting deeper than that. And so I think that's also a very valid, important fact of it's not just always about furniture, right? It's getting to what our clients are looking for. It's getting to what they need out of their space. And, it goes a little bit deeper. And I think that's what I find, is the fun part of it is getting to the depth of it, of things we didn't know.
Let's do that then.
Okay.
Let's do that. So if you were going to host a podcast
Yeah.
and it wasn't about our industry, what would that podcast be?
And
who would you talk to?
I don't know. Again, I feel very siloed because I've only been doing dealerships for so long. But even learning last night, I think we found that everybody's career path wasn't like doctors, right? You didn't go to medical school and then do your residency and become a doctor. There's no straight path to, I think, how a lot of people in our industry got to where we are. So how did we get to it? I would say I was definitely the abnormal one throughout college who, when I was 7, I was rearranging my bedroom. I knew I wanted to be a designer. I cut out all the lamps in a magazine and put them in a book. I cut all the sofas out, put them in a book. And so then I went to school for design and I became a designer. Like, that's not normal. I know that.
Yeah, that's not
right?
much of a squiggly line there.
But, I also hated my office furniture class in college, and here I am in that industry. So I think it's just keeping that open mind. And I would just love to understand how people went from one extreme to another. Like, you went to school for teaching, but you became a doctor. Or like, what was that pivot point that got you to completely change careers? And how did you use what you either went to school for or didn't go to school for? And maybe that provides, a fresh perspective in that career field. That can benefit, the corporation.
I like that. I feel like we could call it like the squiggly line,
Yeah.
or like the path less traveled.
Yeah.
That's a little hokey, but
I do have a sign in my office at my daughter's height, and it says color outside the lines, because I do think that's important too. Yeah, so it's not, you don't have to stay within the confines of it.
So, you were telling the story about how you hated your office furniture class,
Yeah.
And now you're like as far deep into that.
Can't go any further. Yep.
I kind of have a similar situation where I remember as a kid, it was something where my mom had something, she was out of town, and my dad had to take me to work he had to work on a Saturday. Yeah. So he had to take me to work, and he worked as like a quality metallurgist at a metal company that made metal materials. And I had to go into his office, and it was kind of one of those like, here, stay in this conference room, lock the door. I'll come get you when it's over.
Here's a whiteboard. Yeah. Start doodling.
And I'm in this conference room, in this office in like 1986 or something, right? And I'm looking out into this office, and I'm like, this looks terrible. Like,
I don't want to do this.
I hope I never have to do what my dad does,
Yeah.
you know? Because I'm like, it looks so boring, you know, like no one's, you know, it just was so distant from joy as a kid.
Yeah.
Like from what you imagined joy to be.
And did you think that you would be making that a better situation for everybody?
I know,
You know,
and
how
that's
many years later, that's what your problem you're solving?
It is like literally like, not only am I in an office, I'm in an office that works on other offices. It's like
making
so
them
far.
better, right? So maybe that was your impactful moment of like, this should not be how people work. I'm going to make it better. We're going to have nicer things. And, you know,
It
maybe
could
that was
be.
your moment.
It could be, but that day always stuck in my head because I think it put some weird little fear in me of like, oh my God, this is what adults do, and like this is what I'm gonna have to do when I grow up, and like I don't want this, you know.
It's true.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. The metal desks of row after row, and how much it's changed now, and
good memories.
Yeah.
Anything like that stick out in your head from, you know, just when you were younger and you thought about what you'd be doing now?
My mom was the amazing stay-at-home Martha Stewart Pinterest mom before that was a thing. Going to work with my dad was, here's a marker, draw pictures on the whiteboard while, you know, he had meetings and such. But no, I don't think there was an office impact for me. I think in college it was, I don't know if it was the systems we were working on, or maybe it was just, you know, the word cubicle that just didn't do it for me. But I also don't think that, you know, almost 20 years ago, that the workspace had as many exciting things as we do now. It's not just cubicles and panel systems. It's so much more. And then, you know, going through the pandemic and that we were what the talk of everything. And I think we are now as well, as far as our industry of, are you going back to work? What are you doing? What is your office doing? And it's like, we're the everyday conversation now. And so it's really cool to listen to people, you know, even the elevator speech, it's not just the weather's doing whatever. It's, you know, are you going back to work? What's your work policy? And it's like, that's research every day. And it's totally acceptable. It's not as, you know, out of the blue as it would have been 20 years ago. So it's been really fun to see the evolution of where we've come from and where we're continuing to go.
That's pretty cool. All right, let's do a love what you do wrap up.
Okay.
We'll finish the sentence. When you love what you do,
you have a smile on your face. I think that it's infectious. There's going to be challenging moments, and there's tough days, and but you know, still giving that aura of positivity and look, everything's figure outable. We'll get it done. When you love what you do, you're willing to find the fix, to find what's going to make it better. When you love what you do, you enjoy it. I think that was also something that my grandfather had said was, you find something you like to do and find a way to make money around it, right? So just because you like to ride horses, if you're not going to be able to make that into a career, there's a difference between hobbies and careers, right? And so the fact that I loved rearranging bedrooms at 7 and, you know, got into this furniture world, it was an actual career path too. So
you're lucky in that way. Like seriously, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was fun.
Hey, you were a great interview.
Oh,
thank you, Julia.
You made it very easy. My goodness.
I really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I was honored to be here.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
Thanks for joining me here on Love What You Do.